we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Oh yeah, you're looking good tonight, looking healthy. Kind of like what I was mentioning. We'll get into a little bit of your past, like some things that you had, because you're seeing a lot of success right now. Like you have like this energy about you that is somewhat contagious. I don't know if you get hit with this too, because I feel like I've got hit with, like, I'm toxically positive. Like I feel like I get hit with that. I feel like you might fall into the same category.
I do.
You got a lot of good energy going.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously toxic positivity is a thing. But I don't think that's me. I think when you get that energy from me, it's very genuine. Like those 7 exclamation points that I like to give, like that's me. Like that's not just me faking it. So yes, I get that a lot.
Toxic positivity.
Like can positivity actually be toxic though? Like,
I don't know. I think we talked about with Sean Antonio as far as it being I think that was his word.
Okay.
Or what his wife told him, or no, she said he was annoyingly positive.
Oh yeah.
Some people might be considered annoyingly positive, but is that really a real thing, or is that just someone's perspective and then not, being positive with themselves?
That's true.
1,000%. It's your perspective of it. Because there have been times that I've definitely been in that space too.
Do you feel like that's a high standard to be held to? Like, do you feel like you have to keep that positivity going, and if you don't have it, like, you disappoint yourself or other people?
I think that actually, now that you just said that, because the things I've been through in my past, I would have still been this happy and positive. I always think about like the whole Robin Williams thing when everyone's like, oh yeah, Robin Williams looks like the happiest person on earth. And then he went and died by suicide. So I do think that it's a lot to carry sometimes, but I think people that are truly depressed know, like, you're not always in that headspace. So it's not like a constant thing, but sometimes the inside does get super overwhelming.
It does. I mean, we were just talking about this prior to jumping on. Like, as far as finding more clarity by removing substance abuse, you end up like being less numb to stuff. So then you're actually like seeing life clearly for the first time, maybe in years. And it's really easy to start over analyzing and overthinking things when you have this kind of clarity and you're like making these changes.
Yeah. And you're in the here and the now, you feel everything current. I'm going through it right now. I've been on a sobriety journey. I went 100 days and I slipped last week. I did slip and slipped pretty hard, got drunk, and hated it immediately. I hated how it felt. And it reminded me of why I'm on the sobriety journey. So I wanted to start with that and get that out of the way. The viewers that have been watching this show know the journey I've been on. It's not easy. I've struggled with alcohol for a long time, but we're 5 days sober again. And we're gonna get right back on the horse here.
Let's go.
That's, first of all, congrats. That whether it is 100 days, 1 day, 3 hours, I am such a strong believer that, like, once you start on this journey, the sobriety isn't even the goal. It's why you started drinking. You know what I mean? Like, that piece is, you can take that out, like the drugs, the alcohol, whatever your issue is. But just like you slip pretty hard, but it's like, to me, it's like not the fact that you consume booze. It's the fact that, number one, like, here you are, you jumped right back on, and every time it gets easier. My heart is with you so much right now, because I know what it feels. I dream all the time that I slipped, or that I haven't actually been sober this long. And I am so gutted every single time I wake up. So my heart knows like exactly how you're feeling, even just having to say it out loud.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the kind words. Yeah. And I've heard people say that too, that like whatever substance they're trying to beat or whatever it is, they dream about it. Like they dream that they messed up, or they dream about the temptations. I don't know if that I've experienced that per se, but I've heard people say, like, they got stoned in their dream, or they took a pill in their dream or whatever, and they wake up with like that weird pit in their stomach feeling like, oh, thankfully it wasn't reality. Yeah.
You're like, did I just mess up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that a lot. And I don't know. I think that it's a kind of a telltale sign that I definitely had a problem. But I'm kind of grateful that I have this problem, and I hope that you get to this space too, because it's not like people that go back and forth and they're like, should I drink? Should I not drink? Should I stop this drug? Should I not stop it? Like, I blew up everything in my life. Like, it was pretty obvious that it's like a no-go for me. And I almost find that a gift because I don't have to play that back and forth game. Like, if I was to fuck up and sorry, am I allowed to swear on here?
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, this is 18 plus here. Yes.
Okay. But if I was to screw up, like, I would know that's not for me. So I think we're almost the lucky ones that have the like problem. I know that sounds so bad.
That's a good way to word it.
But there is no gray area here. It's just a no. Like, it does not help me. It is not serve me in any way. And I almost find that to be a gift because there's no back and forth for me. Like, I don't have to be like, oh, today, should I drink? Should I not drink? I don't know if this is a good choice or a bad choice. Like, nah, it's just never a good choice for me.
Yeah, it's a hard no. And, I think that obviously you went through it, and it probably took you some time to realize that that's how you wanted it to be. You kind of found out what you wanted by finding out what you didn't want. And I think that's kind of the boat I'm in right now. I know that it's no good. We got to keep it moving. For you, like, was there a timeline for that? Was there a specific event? Like, when did you realize, like, I'm done, I have to tighten up?
All right. We've been on this for what, like 3 minutes now? We're going to get deep real quick.
Oh, let's go. Let's dive in.
We know each other now. It's great.
Cheers.
So November 2021, I was at an event for my sister, and something just kind of snapped and cracked in me. I was wasted by 4 p.m, and I crashed a car through fences, backyards, into a house while trying to unalive myself. Got arrested, got the whole, I mean, like, I can say it now, like, very detached from that event. One, because I don't remember anything about the event. That is how intoxicated I was.
Wow.
But like, that was waking up in jail. That'll do it. Wondering, like, not having any idea how you got there, having no clue. But yeah, I remember the snap. And then I remember waking up with bruises all over my arms and just having no idea why I was in jail.
Wow. Scary feeling.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever experienced that, but I guess everyone has like a different rock bottom, if you will. Is that kind of what you consider your rock bottom? Or is it, you think that's just kind of like a playground word?
I do think it's kind of a playground word because I feel like had that happened when I was like 25, I still probably could have justified it again. But having that happen when I had a husband and 3 kids, like, that's just way more of a rock bottom than I think it would have been at any other time.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I appreciate you being open and honest with that story, and I feel like that's one thing that is that helps with healing, is like that brutal honesty. But it really starts with being honest with yourself, right? Because until you are honest with yourself, like, you would never have the courage to share that type of story. A lot of people, like,
Mortified.
they want, or they're like, they're embarrassed and they don't want to share it. But actually, there's like strength in that vulnerability. What were we calling it? It's like
confident vulnerability.
Confident vulnerability is like something Kevin was saying the other day. And
I have the toxic version of that.
Okay. For sure. But it's important though, because like everybody's dealing with something, and we might not be handling it the best way. And for me, that was opiates. And I'm like almost 4 years, like it, and like seeing my life where it's now compared to where it was then, like, it is almost a little surreal because like I'm in the sobriety from pills, like not nearly as long as I was on them for, right? But it's like my life has been solidified in this new realm, and it's almost surreal that I used to like lie to people I loved, that I used to overdraft my account to get high, and like, all these negative things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of my life. That's who I was for a bit, but I'm no longer that person. So it's kind of odd how there's like these different realities within one life.
Yeah, and your story, wasn't easy. You've shared a lot on this show, of course, but we're revisiting it. We're having safe space now. There was a lot of temptations and things around. Like when we started this program, I know you were kind of, in that in between of trying to find yourself, find something that motivated you getting off this stuff. And it wasn't an easy journey.
No, and here's the thing, like with you going 100 days, having a slip up, like I had plenty of slip ups. See, I don't consider that square one in my mind, like, because like you've still made progress, and for anybody out there that's listening, like if you are working towards something and you feel like you gave up one day, like the main thing is like you can fail, just don't fall. Like you could slip, but like you don't stay down and like and just like get like comfortable laying on the ground.
No,
again.
you like twist and like make it look cool. Like I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
That was part of it. That was
again.
just solidifying that was not that wasn't me.
Part of the healing process. Yeah, is that mess up.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good to do that because then you get it off your chest. You're like, all right, I had my little slip, all right, I'm not perfect either, and just keep moving. Like Ash, did you have times where you were like when on your process off, was it also you had speed bumps on there, I'm guessing?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the most challenging part about alcohol being your drug of choice is that it takes so long for your body to get back to any kind of homeostasis and like normal functioning. Like I'm talking like over a year before like you start feeling like fully.
Really?
Yeah, because of what alcohol does to your body. Even casual drinkers, like you could drink like a glass of wine like a week. Your body wants to just be at a homeostasis. So it's going to release cortisol because you're so, zen and like it's bringing you down. It's a depressant. And so you have that battle then that your body has to now realign itself and remember, like, because it's that fake stuff that is ripping the joy and the dopamine out of the normal stuff, because the beautiful things in life can't really compare to that synthetic shit. So it takes a very, very long time for your scent to come back, for all of the benefits to be seen. So when people do like 30-day sober challenges, I'm like, perfect. And you still haven't even scratched the surface of how good this can be. Like, haven't even scratched it. You really need to be in it for a good amount of time.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, and it couldn't be better said, because we've done Sober October on the show a few times, which was good, but for me, it was a countdown to when I can have a drink again. So it wasn't, I knew that there was a finish line with my drug of choice at the end, right? So the challenge, it had good intentions and it helped my body detox for a little bit, right? Because I think that's what I noticed during the 100-day was the body got cleaned out, but the mental piece, like you're talking about, that takes a long time to return to normal. You're messing with your cerebral cortex, the serotonin levels, the dopamine receptors, all those things take time to heal. And that's what I'm learning.
Yes, that is, I think the more you dig into that piece, like realize that you're not intrinsically or inherently broken. Like this is like some kind of defect in you. Like, no, like you've been putting this drug in your system for so long, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just going to take a lot longer to get there than it would if you were detoxing off of some other stuff.
Yeah. Now, did you feel that you did it with like support groups, like a lot of AA people out there, stuff like this, whatever? Did you find support in that, or did you just kind of grab it by the reins and do it on your own?
AA is hard for me because I'm not a super religious person, so I just don't align with that. Which is also difficult though, because all the court stuff that I had to go through, they only really recognize AA in my state as being a legitimate form. I did weekly therapy. Sometimes I went, obviously after my situation, I was hospitalized because mentally I was not in a space, I was in a crisis. So I was hospitalized for a good week after. And then it was pretty clear to me that like my journey was all internal. Like I'm clearly using this external substance and I really think that's what it is for all of us. Something internal that we're trying to deal with, even if we don't know we're trying to deal with it. Like I can't even remember my childhood. There might be something there that I'm covering for, but I don't remember it. So, but your body remembers it and you have to deal with that. So I did therapy, and I tried the Buddhist one. There's a Buddhist recovery program. Tried that a little bit. That got me into meditation though. And then I just went that route. And I was like, now we're on a spiritual journey.
I like it.
Yeah. But it was really, I have this really difficult time with like religion. So.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I dislike about AA, they have good intentions, right? But
yeah,
to start off by telling the people that are there that you're powerless over something, as you've said, Art, is like one of the worst affirmations you can tell yourself or anybody.
Yeah.
Like you're already starting from square. Like, okay, here we go. Here's the program. You're
and
powerless.
I'm not about that. I'm not,
yeah.
I don't consider myself an alcoholic, not because I don't think I have a problem with alcohol, but because like, it's just not part of my identity anymore. And maybe at a time I was an alcoholic, but the minute I stopped drinking, like I am no longer that. That is not a part of me. I do not claim that. I do not want it. You can keep it. But that was a big thing for me too. Even I'm like training to be a Reiki master. And I find even those affirmations I say daily, I switched to be a positive affirmation instead of like, I will not be angry. I will not worry. I switched them into positive because that's just helps me frame it that way for myself.
I will be joyous. I will be confident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I will choose peace and calm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just replacing those filler words a little bit, right? It's instead what do you say? The don'ts, won'ts, can'ts, you get rid of those because that's what the mind's going to pick up on, and you can switch that affirmation real quick. And so I think that for me, that's been helpful, not even with drinking, just with anything in life. You know, we talk about affirmations a lot. So it's a good thing to do and kind of get in the rhythm of it. Starting your day, I'm strong, I'm healthy, I got this. Any problem that comes my way, I'll overcome. You know, and just that consistent. And I'm not saying it's easy. Like you're just going to pick it up tomorrow and become a habit or whatever. And everyone has their own approach to it. There's, I think we talked about it on our solo 2 weeks ago. What's right for Ashley may not be right for Art, might not be right for me. You got to figure out what works on your own. And I guess, admitting and talking about it is step one.
Yeah.
Every time, like I've claimed it as. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, being committed to it, that is where it's the most difficult, is like sticking to it for like over that year mark, like what you're saying. Like you're not even scratching the surface at 30 days, and like truly committing to a new lifestyle for the rest of your life. Like that's like a personal marriage, like with a mentality that will benefit you. But it's that commitment and dedication to actually see it through, even on the bad days. Like, so that's like where the rubber meets the road, is that daily commitment. And for me, whenever I like would get cravings, or even when I wasn't drinking and I would get like a craving to drink, like it's honestly like just 2 to 3 minutes. Like you have this craving that you want to fulfill. And if you could literally just move your mind to something else within 2 to 3 minutes, then you're good. And then the more times that you handle that 2 and 3 minutes, then the less that they appear too. So it's like these consistency patterns. That's truly where the success is found, and like that long-term dedication. Because like you can say, like anyone could do something for a month. Right. Anyone could like do a new diet for 3 weeks and like lose 5 pounds or something. But it's like, are you actually changing your lifestyle to where it's going to be beneficial long-term? Like, so it's not a flash in the pan. That's kind of like my thought process on that.
Yeah, I love what Kev said. It's a countdown to when you can have that bad habit again. It's not there's nothing encouraging about that. Still, the only thing you're thinking about and focusing on is that bad habit, that cake you can have after your 3-week diet. Like that's what I'd be thinking about the whole time, instead of just trying to to just switch my mind to think about, to change to good habits instead.
Yep. And that's what we're all on the hunt for, I mean, not all of us, but some folks, some folks are going to do things a little bit differently, but I think 3 of us can kind of agree that, we want more, and we're going to dedicate to more, and we have more. I mean, and that's great. Look at you now, Ashley, you're crushing it. It's all this toxic positivity. Is that what we call it? Contagious positivity.
Yes. Have it. It's yours.
I'll take a piece.
I think it's funny when people get upset about my happiness level. Because
I know where this is going.
Because it's like sometimes people don't want to like, so sometimes I feel like I have to tone down my level of like outward like happiness, because it's like that upsets people sometimes. Like during their day, they're like, why is he so happy and I'm not? So it's like sometimes like once you find like your joy and you're choosing to see the light more often than not, and like life starts to open up and be like beautiful, like there's like this space where you have to kind of like be humble and like keep it to yourself a little bit. It's a little interesting because I like, and I'm just speaking from my experience, I want to share it, but then at the same time, like, you know, is that like putting too much out there? Like there's like this level of like being humble and keeping it to myself that I try to maintain, I guess.
Do you feel like when you put it out there, because you're good at doing, you know, social media stuff and talking about things, and you've been very honest on this program, do you feel, I'll ask you the same question I asked her, do you feel like you have to hold that standard day to day? Like you, now everyone expects Art to be that positive guy. He's always got to be on.
I mean, to an extent, it's like, yeah, like it's almost a responsibility. I feel like, you know, I've built this new version of me. Well, I've actually just refurbished it. It always existed, you know, but we got it updated now. And it's like you want to keep it rolling.
Art 2.0.
Yeah.
Version 2.0. That's
let's
right.
go. But we have to change our own oil. We have to like do the little things to keep our engine going, right?
Yeah.
It's just like a car. You need maintenance yourself.
It's true. Keep the wheels turning.
Yeah. And honestly,
And go
it doesn't
back to
matter
those
what other people think.
basics.
Mhm.
Go back to those basics. If you stop doing that stuff that like really keeps you grounded or really keeps you your eye on that prize, whatever that is for you, like that's the stuff I always try and like write down, like to go back to that. Like never be too good to like go to the training again, to like do something again, even if you think you're an expert at it now. Like the amount of times I've gone back and read a book or just done something and been like, oh, I forgot about that piece that like spoke to me so long ago. So yes, that maintenance piece is crucial.
Yeah. And what if that book, because the first time you read it, you were in a different mentality, and then you reread it, and then like you kind of get a new gem from it too, because your mentality's changed a little bit. You're looking at it a little different. I love a good reread. Like there are certain books that like I'll try to get a reread every like couple years, reread it. What's one that you would say, Ashley? Like what's one of your favorites?
Neither of you will really relate to this one too much, but Quit Like a Woman is a super great book.
Quit Like a Woman?
Yes, she wrote, it's all about her sobriety journey. She gets like really raw and real in it, but I have never resonated so much with a book in my life. And that book definitely gave me permission to do my healing my own way, to stay sober my own way. I don't know if you know human design, but I'm a projector. So I need permission to do things. I need to be asked and like invited into the conversation. I cannot input myself into it. I mean, I can, but then I'm not living in alignment with myself. So I do way better when I get permission and am asked to do something and invited to do it. And that book changed my life for sure.
Wow. Quit Like a Woman, huh? Never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as modern men, we could probably read that book and
As modern men
and find some gems in there.
Well, I mean, the mission statement.
I think you
same,
would,
right? Yeah, there's probably some good Easter eggs and gems in there that everybody could relate to. I think that's the thing. The energy of it, right, is definitely relatable. I would assume. What would you
and
say?
the facts that she.
Go ahead, Ashley.
The facts that she just brings to light, like alcohol is literally what they put in engines, like it's what you put in your car to run.
It's
like,
true.
It is ethanol.
Alcohol has never changed the taste of it, only your preference for it has, but it still tastes the same the entire time. So that first shot of vodka that you took that you didn't like, or whatever your drink of choice was, that you were just like, this is gross, like that's never changed. You just found a way to live with it and to keep putting it in your body. So she does a lot of the educating that I needed to be like, now I'm just not doing this anymore because I don't want to do that to my body.
Yeah, that's a good way to highlight it, because it's ethanol, which is a chemical that's found in gasoline. So there's a lot of truth there. And you're right. Everyone's going to find a reason to cover up the taste, the smell, the whatever. And it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy.
Let me like pour let me get my Coca-Cola, which is like
sugar.
One can of Coca-Cola.
It's so
like
much sugar.
56% of your sugar, added sugar, not just sugar, but the added. What is that?
Bad. It's so bad.
And then let me put that on the Jim Dean. You know, it's like it's horrible. Like that mixed Coca-Cola and booze.
Ugh.
Like it tastes good. It goes down easy.
I didn't even see. I wasn't a whiskey and Coke guy. I was a beer guy. So I could never. I don't like soda, even just alcohol without alcohol. Soda in general, I think is its own kind of poison.
Gross.
It is. It also is.
Yeah. And I see a lot of people addicted to soda, and that
Oh.
sugar and that artificial whatever's in it is addicting, and people are on it.
Oh
A
yeah.
1,000,000%. Even my kids. I
Your
like let
kids
them
are
have
addicted
Sprite
to it?
every now and then. And I'm like every now and then, but every time they see it, they're like fiends. And I was like,
Yep.
no.
You're like, stop that.
Yep.
Get
You like give them a little taste here and there, but it's like can't do too
Yeah.
much sugar for sure. Because I remember when I was a kid, that's all I wanted was cookies, candy, sugar, right? And I see adults doing that. That's all they're eating is Skittles and Coca-Cola, and it's like you can just tell they got that sugar high. So while some are struggling with alcohol or opiates, people are struggling with food. They're struggling with sex addiction. There's so much going on, and it's like everyone's addicted to something. That dopamine nation.
Yeah, I switched. I never had a sweet tooth until I quit drinking, and then I was like, "Give me the cake, give me the candy!" Like I
Yeah.
was like going for it. I gained weight. Most people lose weight when they quit drinking. I gained it.
Yeah, the sugar will do it. I feel though, when I got off the booze and was off it for a bit, candy was like, I want candy. I always had a little bit of sweet tooth, but that was like, it was that sugar craving for sure to fill in whatever the body was searching for. Cause there's a lot of glucose in alcohol. At least that's how the body processes it, I believe.
Oh yeah,
So
there
I've
is.
seen a lot of reform guys, I think, go to either coffee, candy or soda. That's what I've noticed.
Gotta do
it's really
something.
easy to do that. And it's like, okay, I'm paying attention to one big elephant in the room, but like, what are all these other critters in this room that like might creep up on me and stuff? So it is interesting how like there is this fine line that we can walk to be our best versions of ourselves, and how fine that line is, right? And like it's an unpaved path. Like, so you can't always see the line, right? Because no one did it for you before. So it's like new tread. And it's like really, so that's why it's okay to mess up a little bit when you're trying to improve yourself, because you can't always be on 100% and hit.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So sometimes you step off the fine line and then you're like, oops, that was the wrong step. Let me find where this is at again. And I feel like that pursuit though of actually betting yourself, being honest about it, being honest about your story. Sometimes I remind myself of where I was at too. I'm like, it was bad and I have it really good now. So sometimes like when the process of being in a more coherent mindset, like it could get boring sometimes, like where's my rewards at? Like sometimes you have to remember, like
that's where I was at.
Like it's like, hey, actually, no, the reward is the fact that I am bored with like this amount of success that I have right now because I've overcome this. We have to remind ourselves of like what we've achieved.
It's true.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's it's a balance for sure. Every day is a little bit of a balance. There's going to be problems whether you're on alcohol or not or whatever. I mean, things are going to happen. Life's going to come at us fast, and that's certainly not going to help anything. That's just going to make it worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fortunate I don't have kids or anything like that to impact it. Some folks get even more into that, dark pit, and it gets nasty for them. But yeah, the fact remains, I think it's just finding that balance, finding different ways and channel that energy in different directions, right? And that looks different for everyone.
100%.
But having that clear, sober mind to be able to do it makes all the difference.
It really does. Yeah, it does. Everything's a little calmer. Everything's just a little more. You can hear the leaves rustling in the trees. It's just different. When you're boozed up all the time, you're just rock and roll, loud music, just kind of fast paced. It's very different.
Unaware. I think for like a good 10 years. And I didn't drink every day. It just I would always know the days I had off work. And those nights I would drink. And when I started drinking, I couldn't stop drinking. There was no stopping. I cannot drink, but once I start, game over. And I think for a good 10 years I was just frozen in my body, not actually, I was experiencing life, but I was not experiencing life. I do not remember it.
Yeah, that's crazy. And because it's nuts too, because when I met you, you had already put in that work, you had kind of became the next version of yourself, and just were like a beacon of light. That's how I would describe your energy as I first started to interact with you through our day job and start to get to know you better. And then I got to know your story when we were out in Vancouver. And that's when I was like, wow, here's somebody outside looking in, first impressions, like, wow, they got it together. But like everyone kind of has that story, right? So now I want to talk about, and thank you for being open about all this, because it's an important conversation.
Yeah, I
to have.
appreciate that. Yeah, need to get that going for
It
sure.
It is an important conversation to have, and we can jump back to it.
No, I was getting ready to segue too. So good call.
But with the light that you found in your life, you have created new opportunities for yourself, for your family. And I wanted to celebrate some of your success right now that we've seen recently, as far as a little side venture that you're doing with Soul, which is like type of beauty products. Is that correct?
I mean, yes, and it's also a real holistic way of like looking at your health. It's funny. It's almost like the accumulation of like all the things that I've been like working on in some way. The thing that really grabbed me though was the digital courses. Like there's one on self-love, mindset, and manifestation, which I highly recommend to both of you, because it is, even with like years in this, it's like one of the best programs and like 28-day challenges.
So you've been doing this for a while now, huh?
I have, yes, my sobriety journey, but the mindset and manifestation thing has always, like, I remember watching The Secret when I was like 20 years old, maybe 19, and everyone was like, what is she talking about? And I was like, no, there's something here. I don't know what, but there's something here. And I mean, The Secret just barely scratches the surface. Like it just it's like at it.
Affirmations for dummies. It's like, here's like,
it's the appetizer.
Yeah, let me open up the door for you and you could peer in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And if you're curious, that's a great way to get started.
It is. It's the perfect way. Even the visuals in like the movie, I was like, okay, I get this. Like I needed that. That's how I learned the best too, is just visually seeing it. And that was like the end of it for me. I've always been curious about it since then, but not until I was sober have I been able to do anything with it.
And so where's it at now?
I think I finally kind of like, I've had a few things happen recently that I was like, oh, okay, it's working. Like, this is exactly what I envisioned. And not like 3 years prior. Like, I've been working on this for 3 weeks, like this specific thing, a large sum of money, and then like just happens to appear. And you're like, how? Like, even you are surprised by your magic sometimes. And it's really just been a very cool kind of like upgrade of your energy and vibration, that you can almost feel unlocking, like, oh, okay, this is making sense now. I'm finally getting through the work.
Mm-hmm. See, that's karma coming back around though. Like how you're saying, like how, because you've been involved with Soul for multiple years, right?
No, like literally the company started 60 days ago.
Okay.
Wow.
And so you got
It's
offered
brand
an
new
opportunity?
Yes.
Like someone approached you?
Yes.
Okay.
No one knows about this yet. This is Discussion Combustion is literally
This is the reveal.
The trendsetter.
Wow.
Yes, it's one of it was started by a real housewife of Salt Lake City and her husband, Justin and Whitney Rose, and then there is Rodney James and Ashley Headley. So these two power couples, and these men were just like, this network marketing, a lot of people have a really icky feeling about network marketing. I'm also one of those people. Because people are really good at making like good things icky. But like, this is very different. I've been burnt by network marketing before. I've done like other companies and it was a terrible experience. And when my mentor, gal pal, Marcy, came to me with this opportunity, I was like, it was like that one little, like, sometimes you get those little hints and you're like, oh, okay, like it's your intuition, like telling you like, this is it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And so I invested a little bit, very little bit into it. And it's been really fun so far. Literally, I think we're like June 20th, I want to say, was when the company officially pre-launched. So it launches for sure, for real, in October.
Oh, wow. So we're getting like a little sneak peek here of what's to come.
You are, yes.
Wow. It's pretty exciting. I mean, you said you made a small investment, but obviously it's something you believe in, and it's something that's going to bring you joy and happiness and that you can share with others. I mean, it sounds like it's a great investment.
It is. It's been very fun. And to take kind of like the experience that I had with network marketing in the past and just be able to reshape that and put it back in the universe in a really great way. Just having ownership of that experience is really cool too.
Yeah.
Well, also you get to have that devious photo where like you're having fun in that picture. Cause like she's like in like the top 10, folks right now. And so her
for
picture's
the
there and she's all
past
like, I'm like,
for the
like, what do
past
you
like month, I've been in the top recruiting space for the entire company, which has been so cool because never has that happened before for me. I know I had those pictures taken because I was like, I have no photos of me and I need to start putting something out there. So my son's best friend's, my 7-year-old, my baby, his best friend's mom is a photographer. And I was like, can I pay you to take some pictures of me? And it was the most awkward experience of my life.
Okay.
She's like, smile. And she said, I was like, okay. And then it was literally me like, like, this is weird. She got it. I was like, there it is.
It turned out good. How long was the photo shoot for? Like an
30
hour?
minutes. No,
Okay.
like 30 minutes. I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is so awkward. Just me and her walking downtown this area.
It kind of makes me think. You guys ever seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
Do you remember when
Yes.
Deb does the glamour shots by Deb? She gets like really into it. She's like, just bring it into your chin and lean into it.
Uh-huh.
It's like it's a cult movie, of course, but that reminded me of that movie.
It's the best. Oh, I remember watching that movie the first time and thinking it was the worst movie on the planet. And then I
thought the
watched
same
it a
thing.
second time and I was like, this is genius.
I just watched it a couple weeks ago, and it makes me laugh still. 20
It has-
years later.
It has some good parts in it. It really does.
Kip,
And honestly,
like,
that dance at the end.
Kip,
Tina, the llama.
Tina, yeah, the llama, yeah, all of it is. And you know what? Those guys only got paid $1,000 each
That's
until
crazy.
it blew up. I mean, until it blew up, it was like a
Oh,
low
okay.
budget film. John Heder got $1,000 to play that role, and they didn't know it was going to become this
Yeah.
cult classic.
Mhm.
That's crazy,
Yeah, because they were like contracted like piecework at first, like not royalty type.
right?
And so they got set up like that. So they did like go back and rewrite the contracts after like it blew up.
I don't know about that, but I heard an interview with John Heder saying
Mhm.
that he's like, I got $1,000 and I agreed to that role. It was up and coming actor. Now he's doing things, but yeah, when people hear that, they're like, wow, that was such a blockbuster film. I don't know that folks like, younger kids these days would get kind of, it was more, our generation, I feel like, but anyway,
We
Napoleon
were
Dynamite's
very
a great one.
unique.
We
You're
were.
both millennials, right?
1989 for me. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm 87. Okay.
Yep. So we were the last of the cool generations. I feel like
Yeah.
the 90s were so cool. The toys, the candy, the experiences. Like now, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be a kid now, but hey, they have great opportunities.
There's a lot of it's tough though, because like and this is a subject we talked about a lot, but like having the screens and not having the screens growing up for us, playing outside, there's health benefits to that, and like we haven't had enough time. Maybe we're starting to see the effects of like screens always being in front of people's faces as they're growing up, and like calling people now, for example, like we used to call people all the time back in the day. Like that's how you get in touch.
I make
with
my
people.
husband call for ordering food and like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Good.
talk on the phone.
Yeah, a lot of people want to avoid these phone conversations.
Well, that's
Thank you, don't call me.
yeah.
The no call culture.
The no call culture. Yeah. I'll call and leave a voicemail and then I get a text back. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Especially in the dating world. Like you go into that a little bit. It's so consistent, Ashley. You wouldn't believe. When I was dating, I'm in a relationship now, it's great. But when I was dating, like Kevin and I like to play it old school, and we would share data as well. So we would like be coming back with our dating data, and we would talk about like, hey, like where did you fall apart? Where did the mission fail? Like how did we mess that up? But one thing that we found is that whenever we would call, because like you get the number, right? And like you have to be patient with it because you don't want to blow her up and like be overly excited, chase her away. So you'd like wait a little bit. And then you would call and leave a nice voicemail inviting them to a nice meal of sorts. And almost 95% of the time, you get a text back.
Or nothing at all.
Or nothing at all.
So you're,
yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
going to say, did your postmortem reveal that the call worked or like was a turnoff?
Depends on the situation. I
Yeah.
guess.
So I guess the most simple dating advice that I could give is just be yourself, and people that like your vibe will give you the hints that they do.
And
like not everyone likes your vibe.
And don't over pursue.
Yeah.
That's the other piece of advice. Nobody wants to be. I mean, they think they do, but reality is you're just going to chase them away. Just like a cat. You run after a cat, it's going to go into the bed. Let the cat come to you. It's very simple.
It's true. It is too true.
How do we end up on dating advice?
I don't know. Dating data is fun though.
Oh, because you're talking about phone calls.
Yeah, and like leaving messages and stuff.
Leaving
that's how we
messages
got there.
and just say, we're millennials and things like that. Yeah. I mean, things are. I like the nostalgia stuff though. I still think it's fun.
Oh yeah, I was in a full-on with my probation officer. Was in a full-on conversation about WWF and WWE wrestlers the other morning. I was like,
Cold
we
Steve
could talk
Austin.
about this all day. Yes,
Okay.
it was amazing. Yeah.
Do you keep up with wrestling still?
I haven't kept up with it too much. I did see CM Punk was back, and that made especially I used to think he was such a nerd for being like the straight edge guy, and now I'm over here like, yay,
Go
sobriety. But yeah, we yes, I do not keep up too much, but all the old school stuff, like I do Ric Flair like references, like I do a lot of those references, and we work with a lot of younger kids, Arthur and I, so that never lands well. They're always like, no one laughs or says anything.
What are you talking
like,
about?
Come on.
I know, that's what I mean with the Napoleon Dynamite. If we drop lines like that, they'd be like, huh?
No.
Yeah.
They have no idea. Although my kids do, there will be songs that come on. Rickroll. My kids used to Rickroll people.
Oh, with the Rick Ashley song?
I hope that never goes away.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
same here.
That's a good one.
And there's also a song right now that is an old school one. And I was like, why are my kids, Tears for Fears, whatever that song is.
Oh,
My children were singing along to the words to Tears for Fears. And I was like, I did not teach them this, but here we are. So YouTube does have some advantages, I guess.
Well, here's the thing about good music, and then you go, but like good music is always good. Like it doesn't matter if it's 20,
Timeless.
40 years old, like it's still good music.
Oh, I'd agree. You look at my playlist, I got stuff from the 40s in there. I mean, it just depends on the mood. There's been good music for a long time, going back to us banging on rocks and sticks together to make a melody.
Or you talking about we will rock you.
Yes.
Everyone knows that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, even the youngsters. That's fun. Well, so Ashley, outside of that, what else is something fun or maybe different that people don't know about you?
I really like reading, like books. I've been really into the Sarah J. Maas culture. I don't know if you all have been exposed to that. Does your girlfriend do any reading art? Like A Court of Thorn and Roses. Like it's like
that's like fiery romance, right?
Oh, it's erotic stuff?
It is. Not necessarily.
It's like a fire.
Like 1,000% smut, but also it's inappropriate and appropriate. I don't know how to describe it.
It's tasteful.
Inappropriately.
Yes.
No, I know what you mean.
It's erotica tastefully done.
Yes. In book form.
Isn't that kind of what was that thing I got dragged to one time?
The Shades of Grey?
Yeah, the Shades of Grey.
You got to tell this story.
I'm going to tell this story.
I don't know. Can you tell
I want this story.
I'll leave some names out of it.
Okay, leave the names out. Yes.
Yeah, I'll leave names out of it to protect their identities, but and then we'll dive more into it. So I was dating, well, I can say Brandy. I was dating Brandy back in 2015, and that's when the first one came out, I believe. And so we went on a double date with a couple to go see the film at like a cozy movie, like one of those movie theaters where, you got like food, there's a table, you can get cozy and stuff. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was just along for the ride. It's a new dating this gal. It's Valentine's Day weekend. Everyone's excited about it. What's it called? 100 Shades of Grey? 50 Shades of Grey. I don't even know the name of it.
There's only 50.
Right?
There's only 50. And, unbeknownst to me, the couple that we were visiting the film with wanted to do swinging. And so, as the film goes on, I'm starting to see what's happening. And then they're like touching my leg and stuff. And I mean, at this point, I'm profusely sweating because I wanted out of the situation immediately. I was extremely uncomfortable. I couldn't even pay attention to the film anymore at this point because I'm like, I don't know what's going on around me.
You got your girl on one side.
Yeah. And then I got
like this mystery toucher on the other side.
And I'm sweating. I'm so anxious. So all I knew how to do in this moment was play dead. And I pretended to fall asleep to get through this film because it was so awkward.
I think the possum was awesome in that circumstance.
That's all I knew how to do.
That is incredible. My mother at one point was invited to her friend's, like my mother, was invited to her friend's party, her friend's dentist's party. And at some point in the evening realized that she was at a swinger party. And if anyone who's watching this knows my mom, like she's the cutest, most awkward person she was. And I remember that. I feel like a lot of people have these. Swinging, I think, is a lot more prevalent now. Like a lot more people know what it is. But my mom had no idea what she was at when this happened.
Yeah.
That is too funny.
That's a real story. But so so 50 Shades. And so is that kind of is that where this kind of literature?
Yeah, but like these are also like these people have like wings. They're like fairies and like
so it's like fantasy.
Oh, so it's like erotic fantasy.
Harry Potter.
Okay. Now I see what's going on here. I mean, that sounds interesting.
10 out of 10 recommend. I can't wait. If they make like movies or like TV shows of this, I know everyone would be into it.
They're probably going to, right?
Oh, they better. I know
would have to be in the works.
Yeah. HBO is probably working on it.
Yeah, I know most people do not like TVs like after books, but that's my favorite thing. I just love the story so much. Like, I don't even care if it's good or bad. Like, I just want to experience it again. They're two totally different medias.
So when you watch the film after reading it, you don't go in with like super high expectations. You just want to see what it looks like from someone's perspective on film. Yeah, that's a good approach. I feel like
that is good
because so many people tell me like, oh, the movie ruined it and this and that.
Why would how does that ruin it?
Right.
Yeah, like the book is still there.
Yeah, the book's still there.
Like,
no one forced you to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed about that.
Where I saw the movie first and then I read the book later in life. The movie
I don't know if I've ever done that.
Jurassic Park, right?
Wait, so you saw it first and then read it?
Yeah, a bunch of times I've seen Jurassic Park, and then I read the book Jurassic Park, and like the movie helped inspire some of my visualizations that I had, but it was a completely different thing that happened, like in my head, like what I was seeing. So I think it is fun reading. There's so many benefits to it. It's something that I could improve on. Like I haven't picked up a book in probably over a month and read for 10 pages. Like I haven't done that, and I know it would be a benefit, but there are some major benefits to reading a book opposed to like a screen. So I'm just going to go through these really quick. And the benefit is that when you're reading a book and it's backlit, that's a natural occurring thing, right? Because you have the light shining upon something. But if you're reading off of something where it's lit from the screen, that doesn't naturally occur in nature. So this also applies with like seeing film in a movie theater has a different experience, like emotionally, and like the attractor fields that you get because it's projecting light onto a screen opposed to from your TV, it's being backlit from the screen. But like, so there's all these positive things about reading just with that alone, if you're reading a book. And then like it helps with dialogue. Like I'm sure you could bust out some benefits here, like to reading and like why it's so beneficial.
I just feel like, do you ever like create? I don't know if any of you are creators already. I know Arthur, I know for like you do music and stuff like that too. So I feel like when you stop doing it for a little bit, it like, once you get back into it, you're like, oh yes, like you get that flow going again. And you're just like, I feel like that's what it does for my brain, is just the more I'm reading and like using that part of me that I love holding the book. I love bending the book. I need to have the book. I just
smell those pages. Like, you're like,
I do. I could live in a bookstore and just like be so happy. One with a Starbucks. Oh, like heaven. But there are literal, like, I just love to hold it and have it because the experience, you're right, is completely different. And now that you say that, it makes perfect sense because the whole visual experience is so, so different. It's wild because like, no matter what you do, like we still have our monkey brains. Like our brains have not evolved like in any way, shape or form since we were first created. Like there's just no real evolution there. So like, even if you want to think I think I do this a lot. I think I'm smarter than things. So like, I think I know something. And then but I still have that monkey brain. So like, even though I think I know that I can do something, like my anxiety, for example, doesn't know if it's a freaking saber-toothed tiger and I'm in a cave running for survival, or if it's like literally coming onto a podcast for an interview. Like my fight or flight and my body, the exact same thing. Like, it does not matter. And even though I know this, my monkey brain still doesn't care. It does not compute the difference there. And so I think that's so important to just learn the science of like what you just said about like looking at the book and the way you're experiencing it versus a light behind it. Because if you don't have that in nature, like that's still the brain that we're working with. It's all we got.
That was a great visualization there. I was picturing that lion run, or whatever you said you were running through a cave for survival. It's true. Like, you know it about yourself, and it's like channeling that a little bit into a book or whatever. Now, have you read from a Kindle and felt that different experience, or your phone or something? Like,
I refuse to work. Yeah, I don't like to read. I literally have to hold the book. I will not.
Yeah,
my ADHD, like I have actual diagnosed ADHD, not like the fun kind that everyone has nowadays. It like literally cannot like keep my eyes. There does not engage me the same way as holding the book does. Just doesn't.
Now, what's the difference between your ADHD and the fun ADHD?
Like, I just feel like how everyone now has like short-term memory loss and like, you know, just like, I think like we were saying, like the being on the screens, I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD till I was 27.
Okay.
But I think if I was a child and I had a screen in front of me all the time, like that would have triggered my ADHD a lot sooner. Like there would have just been way more obvious signs. But I think the way that we're now conditioned to have such short attention spans because of Instagram, because of that, you know, like there's no delayed gratification. It's so instant that I think now it simulates a lot of ADHD symptoms. But like I actually struggle with like executive function and like different things. So everyone now just thinks it's a cute little diagnosis, but that's like probably my most challenging of all my challenges. So that's what I mean when I say the fun kind that everyone just kind of has now.
Yeah, they make a joke about it, or like, you know, I'm OCD or something. And it's
I was just curious. It seems like everyone's got something, right? And it's like,
yes,
it, you know, and we talked about being, you know, millennials and stuff. We didn't have as many of those screens. Like TV time was like a treat. I didn't, you know, and I always wanted to be outdoors or doing other things. And it's like, unfortunately now, you know, not all parents, I can't speak for all, but you know, it's easy to give them the tablet, throw in a DVD. If I had kids, I would probably do the same thing. I'm just curious, what is that going to do long-term with everyone being on social media all the time, always getting that instant gratification? You know, we're always being sold to, there's so much dark arts out there, so many things coming at us, you know, so many different angles, politics, all this nonsense. It's creating so much like with everybody. Where's it stop? Where's it end? And I guess that's the personal piece of it, but man, it's just so integrated in everything. We talked about it with the, you know, networking piece of it, or advertising, or doing stuff like this. It's hard to get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And my kids too, like they love being outside. They love playing outside, but having to take them from an iPad to like encourage them to do it. Once they're doing it, they're fine. But like, they don't want to go to soccer practice if they're sitting after school playing on their iPads. There's, you know what I mean? Like that struggle is something I have to like proactively try and like avoid. But like sometimes when I'm working from home, like my husband and I don't have time to go grab the devices, disperse them. But it's definitely a real thing. Like they're addicted to those. It's almost things.
Like,
yeah, they're very addicted to it. And that's kind of one of my concerns. Sorry not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
You know, like the addictions kind of start young, you know, and kids are like, they're getting that dopamine hit from it, video games, iPads, movies, whatever. I'm just fortunate we didn't have it growing up, but I'm concerned now. Like it's that, you know, we talked about cookies and candy earlier as well, but like, is the screens and the virtual world, is that kind of triggering that dopamine need and addiction young in these kids? I don't know.
I think about like, and in that book that if you read it, the Quit Like a Woman, I think about how she says like alcohol is kind of having a cigarette moment right now. Like it's, you know, like it was fine, it was dandy, and now everyone's kind of seeing like like the truth of it, like we did with cigarettes at one point. And I do believe that we'll probably get to that point with a lot of stuff. Like Coke is kind of like, like soda too is also kind of having a
Mhm.
cigarette moment. Like, I think we'll get to the point where we see the actual real life effects of these things. Like, I had babies during COVID, and my middle child was in second grade during COVID, and his hand muscles never developed, like, for writing, because he was on a computer the whole time. So he struggled so much with his handwriting. So, like, like that, we got to see like the residual effects kind of quickly, but it wasn't like immediate. Like, it took a couple of years if we were like, oh, his whole hand muscles, like he needs putty to like build up this hand muscle.
Wow.
Because they were for first and second grade, they were just on a computer, so they didn't have that practice.
This ain't something I ever thought about, but it makes
Mhm.
sense. I mean, because even in schools now, they're kind of giving these kids devices, and they're signing out things, I think, right? I mean, in
Yes.
some schools, I don't know about all, but like, yeah, I remember learning cursive and having to do a lot. I mean, it didn't work for me. My penmanship's still terrible. Looks like a 4-year-old wrote it, but I mean, I at least knew how to write and do all those things. If kids are just getting these devices now in educational purposes, and they have to use putty to build their hand muscles, that's interesting.
Well, then like with the AI learning and stuff, and being able to transcribe notes and like have AI listen to a lecture and then print out your notes, and then like it could do all your equations for you. Like there's a lot where technology is going. But one thing that I was thinking about, to the point that you said, when you have the kids on the iPad and it's kind of like a struggle to get them going, but then once they're going, like it's good, right? And it made me think about like working out, for example. So like if you are staying in a good fitness routine, and you're like doing that, like you're in it, right? You're doing it for months, but then like you take 1 or 2 days off, and then all of a sudden it's like hard to get back on, right? So it depends what you're being consistent with, and like what excuses you're making to be complacent, right? So it's just like you almost have to like stay busy, like doing productive things to stay busy and be productive, or else it's like, because I'm guilty of it, like where I'll spend 4 hours after work just on like TikTok or IG, and it's like, really, what substance have I fed my brain?
You probably feel worse after,
like, yeah, like what have I accomplished? Like, so I need to get up and like do the dishes or something to like offset that, or else you could just fall into like this lazy, like I don't want to do anything mood. And I think we're all susceptible to having that happen. Like it could slip in.
How do you feel about video games at that point? Because like with video games, you're like, it's at least using the brain a little bit of hand-eye coordination. I'm not defending one way or the other, but what do you think about that? And this is for you too, actually.
It's interesting because video games, I used to game hard. Like I used to game for all the time, but now I can't find myself like keeping my interest for more than like an hour on it. Like unless it's something competitive, but I'll generally like, I like to watch things on video games. But I feel like there is that interactiveness,
and it uses the brain, right? You're solving puzzles.
Yeah, but if you're still doing it for like 8 hours,
oh yeah, there's definitely
like, that's
a limit.
overdoing it.
What do you think, Ashley?
I agree. I do like, I mean, like there's something that's so sweet about my boys, because like they'll play together on the video games, they'll play with their friends. I hear them all and they're yelling because they're boys. I have 3 boys, so they're all just, there's a lot of energy and testosterone in my household. So like I do love like that they can play with each other, and like there is that piece of it, like at least they're like being social and not just like, but it's such a struggle. Like, why can't we like have like an emotional regulation game or like a meditation game that they're equally as excited about as Fortnite? You see the potential. We have those monkey brains. They just, even if we know better, they're still going to do their thing.
That's for sure.
The cheap
like, I think
dopamine
games
hits.
are okay. I think they're okay to like escape from reality a little bit. Like if you want to play games and escape, because everyone needs to check out every once in a while, and there's healthy ways.
That's what I do with books now. Yeah.
So that's a healthy way to check out.
That's good. Just mind food, it keeps the mind moving. Yeah, books is a good way to go. Continue.
I need to get back into reading more regularly. Like I can admit to that here, and I'll also admit that I got to get back on my my intermittent fasting and like
your
portion
attack
control.
5.
Yeah, I got to get back on that. Like I kind of fell off there. Like we like to own it here,
I just committed to I'm going to shout her out. Her name's Evie Ho. She is the Mrs. Fit Ho. She is, because that's her last name. I've been watching her for so long, and I was like, I'm doing it. And I sent her my questionnaire, signed up for 6 months with her. She's doing my meal plan and my workouts.
Okay, this is exciting.
And I had to do it for the 6 months. And I was like, because you have to do it. And I have to build these habits that now I've learned. Sober Ashley knows. Previous Ashley wasn't so sure, but I know now that I need to build these habits. So future Ashley will be really excited. I'm sure in 6 months have me back and I'll be like all buff.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that.
That's terrific. Very exciting. Good momentum there. Good things to focus on and control what we can control. You know, at the end of the day, things we put in our body, the people we surround ourselves with, and the decisions we make, it's up to us. And with some good friends and family along the way, be all right.
Yeah, I got one more little gem here.
Let's go.
Like as far as what living actually is, like where do you actually experience being alive? You experience it when you overcome challenges. Like that's when you're alive. Like when you like want to do something and then you second guess yourself and you almost don't do it, but then you do it anyway, and then you like accomplished overcoming your own self-doubt, like that, you feel alive when you do stuff like that. And so like these long journeys that we're talking about, like years off of booze, years off of opiates, years working out, losing weight, whatever it is, like seeing that long-term result, like that's living, in my personal opinion. That's feeling alive right there.
Beautiful.
I don't know, Ash, we haven't asked this question in a while, so we want to ask you this question. And this is definitely a discussion combustion type question. But let's say that the entire world hears this episode tomorrow when it drops. Everybody hears it. What's your one piece of advice for humanity so everyone can be better people tomorrow?
I don't have any advice. I want you to we're all going to do this together. We're just going to sit. And I want you to just like relax your forehead. Like behind your ears. When was the last time you even like thought about that part of your body? Just relax it. Just breathe into it, right? Just breathe into it. Relax a little bit. And just breathe. Just sit in it for a moment. Unclench your jaw. I don't think there's any piece of advice that will improve humanity, but I think the more and more you can sit with yourself and just like think about the backs of your knees, the little like the tops of your toe, like any little part of your body that you haven't even acknowledged in so long. I just sit with yourself and just breathe. I think that's what'll help us all.
I love that advice.
That was good.
I feel more relaxed after that advice.
Yeah, that was good.
I did a meditation right before I came on. I was so nervous and anxious. I was like, oh, I need to ground myself.
No, I knew you would crush this. You have a great energy. You have a lot to say and great things to say as well that are empowering. So I definitely wanted to help give you a voice here. I'm really happy that you filled out or that you accepted the invitation. I was very excited. So we will be sharing your Instagram, like your Facebook, all that will be in the comments below. Is there anything special that you want to call out to make sure to drive traffic to?
No, just come hang with me. You align with me and what I do and what I talk about. Like I just want to bring more of that into my life. So, and my new Instagram handle is put your ash into it. I thought I was so clever.
It is a good one.
That is fantastic. That's probably my favorite handle yet. That's brilliant.
It used to be like laughing my ash off, but like Instagram doesn't let you do capital letters, so it just looked like LMAO. Like no one could tell.
You could do it. Put your ash into it.
Put your ash into it.
Put your ash into it.
Put your ash into it.
Put your ash into it.
In case you weren't positive, we were millennials. Now you really know.
Now you know. Yeah. Cat's out of the bag. Ice Cube for life, baby.
I mean, he's one of the great. He's one of the greatest.
One of my favorite rappers of all time.
And he's not part of the club either.
No, he told the club like he kicked rocks out of the club.
Like that.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy for sure.
And look at us now. All of the ones that are kicking out, tell the club to kick rocks. We're doing okay for ourselves over here.
Yeah, P. Diddy's and we don't even know what country.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, fuck that club.
Yeah. I don't want to know. But yeah, this episode will drop September 12th. So we are recording on 9/11, of course.
Mhm.
Give a quick shout to the flag there. You
Yep.
know, 23 years to the fallen. Never forget 9/11. You know, kind of a big deal.
Mhm.
And just quick shout out to that.
Yep.
And quick
It's a-
shout out
it's
to
a-
9/12. That was
Mhm.
the most patriotic day I've ever felt in my life. So
Oh, hands
as
sure.
down.
sad and like heartbreaking as it was, like I want this country. If we're gonna make anything happen in America again, I want to feel like we did then. Oh,
Hey,
Hey,
look,
buddy.
look who it is.
Hey, buddy. Yep.
You
And
say
so,
hi?
like, I agree with that. Bringing the people together, because you're right.
Yeah.
Everyone was really together, and it's sad that a moment like that had that created from that moment. It'd be great to see Americans align more, especially
Let's-
with how polarized it seems nowadays.
without devastating loss. I think that's what we need to try and do more of in our lives. Get together
Right.
without that expense.
Yep. Yeah. Because there's a lot of noise around us and a lot of things pulling at us. So let's keep this positive, this, what is it? Toxic positivity, confident vulnerability, full send, hashtag own it, let her rip tater chip. Let's go, baby.
Yes. It was a pleasure having you on, Ashley.
Thank you for
We'll
having
be talking
me.
soon, and we'll get you back. You're in the in the Discussion Combustion family now. You're in the network. We like to do annual revisits, and we can't wait to hear more of your story.
Same. I can't wait to hear what number you're at too, Kev.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Yeah. And thanks for letting me speak and just being open and vulnerable and stuff. Appreciate it. Means a lot.
Absolutely. On that note, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Be good to yourselves.
You deserve it.